What you know about love. Tell me what you know about what you know about love. What you know about love. What you know about love. What you know. Hella dizzy from the ups and downs.
Welcome back to the channel, Struggle Streaming with BK. And in today's video, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite college football team. Well, at least mine. The Michigan Wolverines. And that video coming up next after the intro. I'll see y'all in about 10 seconds. Let's get it.
They've got so much talent coming back.
You got 4/5 of your offensive line coming back. Your Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line that's coming back. You have the best running back room in America. You have a quarterback with elite arm talent. You have a defense that brings back 78% production.
This is a team that's going to be loaded. One of the best corners in college football, if not the best, in Will Johnson. They've got Mike Sainristil, Junior Colson. Like, their defense is going to be fantastic. Then you look at the offensive side. J.J. McCarthy is going to be a year older. Blake Corum's coming back. Donovan Edwards is coming back. They've got all those, Roman Wilson on there. This team is going to be really, really good.
You expect to beat Ohio State. You expect to be in the college football playoff. You now expect a national title.
You get back to the block, but you splurge on the thought. How the heck could you do that? About to ring out to Washington, what's in the spot when you reach, you could do that. Dogs know not to do that. We always in traffic, they know who to shoot at. The boss get your crew at. The way brush from do-rag, you won't get your hoe back.
And guess who? It's Barrett again! And this time, Barrett takes it in for the score!
I'm mad at this Rolex. Shit taking you too up and starting to do too much, you don't gotta do that. Used to be broken as you, now you feel like a fool. How the hell could you do that?
Breaks it
What's going
back!
on in CTSB and it's giving me more. Yeah, that spot and it started with us, but I'm still to pull up, now they giving me more sense. They still a bitch, I had thought you were cool, but you do it for the clout and you know that I know that. Hit to that Kirk of that bitch, tryna sneak her up, picking the whoop, must've thought I was Kodak. My nigga motor, no way to control it. Got all the channels, I just shrunk the shoulders. Rich presidential, I just left from voting. Kid the credentials, save all the go talkers. Take off, we live pretty fast on the trip, that was mine.
Billy's Johnson breaking it, still on his feet. Billy's Johnson shredded. Touchdown Michigan, 69 yards.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Struggle Streaming with BK. Like I said before, this video is going to be about the Michigan Wolverines. College football is starting. We got 3 more weeks, y'all. 3 more weeks for the fans out there. If you're tuning into this video, I'm assuming you're a fan. But we got 3 more weeks before college football starts. So I have a love for Michigan. So I think I'm gonna do on my my channel every Monday. I'm gonna devote my Monday video to Michigan football or basketball when basketball season starts. We'll see if I keep it up for basketball. But I'm gonna devote it to Michigan and college football. All right, mainly Michigan. Okay, we're gonna call it Michigan Mondays. That's gonna be Monday's video from now on. Well, we'll see how it go. At least to the season, you know. We'll see. But I'm gonna start off saying, before I start, y'all know how I am. But it's time to beg, y'all. Hook me up, hook a brother up with a like and a subscribe. You know, helps a brother out. Trying to grow the channel. It's a slow process. We getting there. I'm enjoying all the feedback. Like, I'm enjoying the comments. I like interacting with y'all and stuff, especially on my boxing. Y'all know I love my sports. But I'm gonna try to interact with the college football fans too. I'm gonna get to Michigan in a second, y'all. But just a little overview about me. I love sports. I love all sports. I love boxing. Everybody know I love boxing. I love college football. I love college basketball. Not too big on the pros, even though I played basketball. Like, I don't care for the NBA too much now. Like, the game is. But I still love college basketball a little. But I like sports. I used to love hockey, by the way. That used to be my second favorite sport growing up. But I've loved Michigan football since I was a wee bit tad. I mean, I've been rooting sorry about that, y'all. I've been rooting for the University of Michigan football team since I was probably like 7 years old. Like, that's how long I go back. And I mean, that's about, y'all can tell my age, that's about 39 years. I've been watching Michigan football almost 40 years. Not quite, but it's getting close to 40 years. And I've been a fan of the winged helmet ever since I first saw it, right? So I go back a long ways. So I'm going to devote time on Mondays to talk about Michigan football and everything else that's going on with college football. I think next week I'm going to concentrate on strictly offense. The week after that, I'm going to do defense. And right before the season start, I'm going to give my overview on what I think the team is going to do. They're going to win the national championship. Like, I'm gonna give a logical answer. Probably the third week after that. This week on Michigan Monday, I'm not going to concentrate too much on Michigan. I probably will. But I want to talk about the state of college football on Michigan Monday. This past week, we had Oregon and Washington lead the Pac-12 and basically apply. They're going to be coming over to the Big Ten. It's basically you got to let the ink dry. It's basically a done deal. A couple weeks ago, we had Colorado lead the Pac-12. They're going down to the Big 12. And what we got? I'm missing somebody. Arizona, Arizona State going over to the Big 12 too. Like, literally, the Pac-12 has 4 teams left: Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and who am I missing? Washington State. Right? So the Pac-12 is just debunked. So I'm gonna go on a little rant. Okay. College football, as we knew it growing up, it's basically, I don't want to call it dead, but it's not what we grew up loving. Like, if you're around my age, the almighty dollar has ruined college football, right? It really has. I'm a Michigan fan. I root for the Big Ten. You know, it's my area, my neck of the woods and things like that. But it's just weird in the mug to say USC in the Big Ten. It's weird in the mug, Oregon in the Big Ten. When Nebraska came over, it was like, all right, because Nebraska is right next to Iowa. You can kind of see that. When Penn State came over, all right, because Penn State is next to Ohio, right? You know, Pennsylvania and Ohio right next to each other. So it made sense. Like, when Maryland and Rutgers joined, I wasn't a big fan of that myself. It was like that don't even go together. But the way things are now, like, it's so separated apart that it's just not the same as the football that I grew up and loved. I don't even have a problem with NIL, but NIL is kind of changing things. You got players like basically being tampered with from smaller schools. You get off in a smaller school, you got a bigger school coming just bribing the kid to leave the school. That's some bull jump. You got the NIL. I can kind of deal with the NIL. But the one thing that killed college football to me, besides the money, is the transfer portal. I despise the transfer portal. Okay? Right? In certain instances, I do believe that you should be able to transfer. Right? One freebie. If your coach leaves your school, you should be able to leave the school as well. Right? Certain situations, parent gets sick, you got family emergency, things like that, you should be able to leave the school. You should be able to apply for a waiver to leave the school. No questions asked. Right? But this crap with dudes just every year going from transfer from this school to that school to that school to this school. I mean, former Michigan, Texas Tech quarterback, and now maybe starting Oklahoma State quarterback Allen Bowman done been on 2016 in the last 3 years now. But the transfer portal is crazy. Like, teams just coming in and they just kidnapping other teams' better players, right? And I don't think that's right, right? I don't think that's fair to smaller schools. And I root for a bigger school. Like, my team is a bigger school. It's the type of team that can kidnap other other teams better players. The way to fix that would be to take away the 1 year sit out rule, right? So if a player really non-waiver, non-emergency, things like that, right? If a player wants to transfer, yeah, you can transfer, but you got to sit out a year, right? That would fix the transfer portal immediately. Reason being, it'll prove if you really want to transfer. If you want to transfer and you're willing to give up 1 of your years to transfer, right? You don't really want to be at this school, go for it, but you got to sit out a year. You can't immediately play. You can't immediately play, right? You should have to sit out a year like it used to be, right? That way you'll transfer if you are really in a bad situation. Some dudes just don't want to wait. Like they get on campus as freshmen and expect to start, right? And they ain't even ready, right? And they be upset and think they better than they are, and they transfer. I'm gonna bring up a former Michigan wide receiver. Don't kill me, fans, but Andrell Anthony. Okay, he down in Oklahoma. He's supposedly getting off in practice and stuff, and I'm happy for the kid. But the kid came in. He had one decent game. No. He had one good game against Michigan State. He really caught one good pass against Michigan State and ran 90-something yards. But the rest of the season, he didn't do much. Just look at his stats, right? And then he came back with the hoopla last year. And all the Michigan media, yeah, I'm going to call y'all out, Michigan media. All right, I'm going to call it the Wolverine and everybody else. I'm going to call y'all out. They was blowing up this kid who didn't do anything all year. He had one good game against Michigan State. And I think that got to his head. He thought he was better than he was. Now, Michigan had him out there playing, but he didn't do nothing when he was on the field. Right? He constantly, week after week, Andrell Anthony was out there. It wasn't producing. He might as well not have been out there. I'd have rather have seen throughout somebody like Darius Clemens out there. Right? Tyler Morris. Run with the Young Bucks. Let's get it. But anyway, not hating on the kid, but I guess he felt some type of way when the younger dudes who were performing better than him moved up on the depth chart. Well, that's how it's supposed to work, right? If you're not performing, you're going to get passed up. And he just like, well, I'm out. Deuces. He didn't want to compete for his spot this year. And I think that's teaching kids a bad thing. Like, it's really teaching kids, like, I don't want to say it. Yeah, I do. Kids nowadays soft as shit, right? They don't know how to handle obstacles in their life. And that's why I'm getting to it, but our society is kind of jacked up and wussified like it is now, because kids nowadays don't learn crap. They don't learn how to overcome adversity, right? Everything is handed to them. We live in Maine. Like, everybody get a trophy, a participation trophy. That's how it is growing up now in sports. Everybody a winner, right? So when they get up into the real world, right, and shit don't go their way, they so used to everything being handed to them, they can't handle it. You got to compete. Like, Ronnie Bell graduated last year, right? So you had an open spot. Basically, Michigan starts 3 wide receivers, okay? Cornelius Johnson got one spot locked down. Roman Wilson is going to have the other spot locked down. But even Andrell probably was on the same footing as Roman Wilson, but he didn't want to compete for the spot, right? Because the young dudes is coming up, and I'll say it, they are better than him, okay? And he just tucks and runs, right? Instead of competing, instead of trying to get better and competing to be a better football player, you just tuck and run. And I'm not picking on Andrell or anything like that, but that's what's happening around college football with the transfer portal, right? Teams just come in, like, dude, kids don't want to compete. Other teams are stealing other teams' better players. They bribing them. They supposedly paying them over $1 million. We ain't gonna say nothing about a certain wide receiver that was in the Big East playing for a certain coach. I don't want to say the coach's name, but y'all know some receiver last year, Biletnikoff type receiver that ended up at USC for allegedly, over $1 million. He was the starting receiver, Biletnikoff, at his old program, and somehow he decided to leave that and transfer to USC, allegedly, for $1 million. Right? That spit ain't right. Once again, I root for a big school. But you should not be able to come in and kidnap another team's best players with money. Right? It's just, you got a team like I almost said that team, but you got a team like Rutgers. Get a kid, come in, develop them. First couple years, get him on the field, get him playing time, develop him where he's about to be a star for them by the time their junior year come along. And then you get a big school like, what's a big NIL school? Like the Miami Hurricanes come in and just offer the kid $500,000 that you know Rutgers don't got to give to the kid. And boom, he gone. Right? It's not right and it's not fair. Like, I think they should change the rules for the transfer portal. I think you should have to sit out a year like it used to be. If it's not an emergency, if your coach didn't transfer, etc. I think you should have to sit out a year. It'll clean up the transfer portal. I think it was something crazy like 5,000-6,000 players in the portal, football and basketball. Just freaking ridiculous. And a lot of those kids ain't end up at schools. A lot of those kids did not end up at schools. So they gave up their scholarship searching for greener pastures and didn't find them. Yeah, they learned a lesson, but like the portal, something got to be changed about the portal.
Collins, a pitch it forward to Corum. He had trouble with the snap, and he's down inside the 10.
All right. So the two subjects I want to talk about this week, strictly about Michigan, is the roster, what I think is needed, some of the position battles, and also first I want to talk about recruiting, because in the chats, in the Michigan circles, it's a lot of flack about Michigan missing out on the last few targets they get. I'm gonna explain why they missed out on certain targets. Okay. 1 second. Water break. Y'all know I need my water. All right. So, Michigan missed out on 4-star wide receiver Gatlin Blair this week. Blair is a speedster, and he chose Boise State over Michigan. He stayed close to home. There's nothing wrong with that, and I wasn't even surprised. I know it was a lot of chatter from Michigan circles saying that they think, from the recruiting circles, that they thought Gatlin Blair was coming to Michigan and Michigan had the lead. Like, I never saw anything from me and my eyes. I know I'm not an East insider. I don't talk to people at the Michigan program, but I do pay attention to recruiting sites and what the kids say. And I never heard anything from Gatlin personally that I saw online saying that Michigan was in front. So the fact that he stayed home to go to Boise wasn't a surprise to me, especially when you comparing two programs. If Boise is basically neck and neck with Michigan, it's the reason that kid wants to stay home. So I wasn't surprised at all. Also, Gatlin Blair is not he's technically a 2024 recruit, but he's doing a 2-year mission. So he's really a 2026 recruit. So it's not really a big loss. That's somebody you were shooting for down the line. You have three years to make up for that, like to find another receiver to take that slot. Also, Bennett Warren, the big offensive tackle offensive line, but he's going to play tackle. The big offensive lineman that chose Tennessee. it was a lot of in the Michigan circle saying that, yeah, Bennett Warren, he's coming to Michigan. He's coming to Michigan. I don't see how y'all figure that. Michigan has already signed 5 offensive linemen, right? Only 5 dudes can play at a time. And on the offensive line, it's how it's set up. All 5 of them ain't gonna play at once. It's gonna be different linemen from different classes. So to have 5 linemen already in the class, you basically booked up already. So I didn't understand why people were so confident that Bennett Warren in certain circles where it was coming to Michigan. When he went to Tennessee, was I surprised? Not at all. Right? Michigan had already signed 5 linemen. Also, for the people out there who paranoid and going crazy over Michigan recruiting right now, Michigan has already not signed. Michigan has have I said signed earlier? Well, pledged, committed. If I said signed earlier, I don't mean signed. The early signing period is months away, but committed. Michigan already has 27 verbal commits for the class. And normally, it's supposed to be 25. But with NIL, you can finagle the numbers now. But Michigan already has 25 commits for the 2024 class. If I was Michigan, and I'm not, but if I was Michigan, I turn all my resources towards 2025 now. Like, I've seen a couple instances where they said Michigan they want another defensive back, and they was looking at a 3-star. Yeah, okay, but I would put all my resources to 2025 now. I already got 25 commits. And of course, it's going to be some flips and stuff like it is every year with almost every single program. So maybe Michigan can flip a recruit, or some might be flipped from Michigan. That's just a part of the game. If a kid ain't a 5-star or a high 4-star for 2024, I wouldn't even look at them anymore. I just wouldn't. But anyway, that's all I got for recruiting this week. As far as the roster battles and the season coming up, the most intriguing one for me is, and probably for everybody else, is who's going to play CV2, right? Michigan has seven returning starters on offense. They really have 8, and I'll tell you why. Because Roman Wilson really was a starter, and Colston Loveland towards the end of the season was a starter. Michigan is only replacing 3 offensive linemen. The rest of the team is coming back. Michigan is loaded. And on defense, I read that they had 6 returning starters coming back, but I don't think they're reading Michigan's depth chart correctly. Because Michigan should have 8 returning starters. Because Mikey Sanders is a starter. Michigan starts 3 corners. And I know they probably listed it as 4 linemen and 3 backers like back in the day. But if you count Mikey as a starter, that's 1. That'll put him to 7. And Will Johnson is a starter. Now, I know technically on the depth chart, Will Johnson wasn't a starter last year, right? But Will Johnson was the best corner on the team last year, even though he was listed as the backup to both Green and DJ Turner. Will Johnson was the best corner on the team last year, right? And I know DJ blew up at the combine by running that fast 40. But you talk to anybody in Michigan circles and talk to the fans, Will Johnson was the best corner. So technically, Michigan got 8 starting returners on defense. So they really have 16 starting returners coming back. Michigan is loaded this year. And the battle that I'm most interested myself in is CB2. I like Jake McBurrows from what I saw from the spring game. I think Jaden McBurrows is going to be the starting corner. I know the Michigan talking, the sites that are on YouTube and stuff like that are talking about the kid that they brought in from UMass is going to be the starter. And, back in the spring, Coach Harbaugh was really high on Amarion Walker. But the way he got abused in the spring game by O'Leary, he ain't ready. Now, I know the spring game was 4 months ago, but still, he ain't ready. Like, not for no big time, unless you're going to throw him out there and because of the schedule and sink or swim and let him learn on the job. But I think Jay McBurrows is going to be the starting corner, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but we will see in like 3 weeks, won't we? But I think Jay McBurrows is going to be CB2. But I'm real interested in see how that turns out. It's really the most interesting. I mean, it's really the one spot on the team that's really up for grabs. And I know you have a lot of battles every year for every position, almost every position, every year. But that's the one that's like truly wide open. That, and I want to see who's wide receiver number 3. My opinion, which doesn't count for much because I'm not on the staff and I'm not there every day. But I like Darius Clemens. I like his speed and I like his build. I also think Tyler Morris will really push Darius Clemens for that spot for wide receiver number 3. Roman Wilson and CJ are going to be 1 and 2. I've seen other publications say otherwise, but Roman Wilson probably be, CJ gonna be the number 1 receiver, and Roman Wilson gonna be number 2. Barring injuries. Y'all know Roman's, if you're a Michigan fan, you know Roman's history. And he always end up nicked up. And it's always happened when he started to take off and show flashes of greatness. But hopefully Roman could get through the season uninjured, and I think he'll lock down that wide receiver 2 spot. Wide receiver 3, like I said, I think it's going to be Darius Clemens, and that's the battle I'm most interested in on offense. Wide receiver 3. Moving along. Before I get out of here today, I'm going to release, each week I'm going to release my top 10. But today, I'm going to do my preseason top 10, okay? I ain't going through 25 teams. I'm going to go through 10, right? That's what y'all get, 10. So, it's going to be some discrepancies in there from what the experts say, but I guarantee you at the end of the season, my preseason top 10 is going to be close to what the top 10 is, all right? All ready? Let's get it, all right? Coming in at number 10, I have the Florida State Seminoles. I know everybody on the Florida State hype train, and a lot of people think that they are top 5 and going to challenge for the playoff. It ain't going to happen, right? Like, I don't even think they're the top dog in the ACC this year. And I'm not hating anything because, as most people know, Florida State is my second favorite college football team. But I just don't see it this year. Not this year. Maybe next year. Give them 1 more year. Florida State coming, y'all. Oh. Number 9 in my top 10 preseason rankings, I have the Washington Huskies. Okay, y'all? Watch out for Washington, y'all. All right? Watch. They have a dynamic offense, and they have a decent defense, right? But they're going to sling the ball all over the field all year long. And my only reason I don't have them winning the pack, what do I call it now? The Pac 4. But only reason I don't have them winning the Pac 12 is I don't think they can win a shootout with USC. And I think everybody else on their schedule, they can win a shootout with. Even though I assume that they're going to have a better defense than USC, their defense isn't strong enough to slow down USC. And USC is just going to bomb it all over the field. The type of teams that give USC trouble are the same type of teams that give Ohio State trouble. Physical football teams. And Washington isn't a physical football team. It's a finesse one. So when they match up, and they will, when they match up, that game is going to be probably 54-48. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling for a 100-point game when Washington and USC match up. All right. Number 8, our first SEC team on the list, LSU. I know it's a lot of hoopla about LSU challenging for the SEC title this year. I don't see it. Could it happen? Possibly. But I just don't think they beat Alabama this year. And with that, especially with Alabama's schedule, easy schedule. Yeah, I said it, Alabama's easy schedule. I know everybody trying to hype up Texas, but it's Texas. And Texas going to do what Texas going to do. They're going to look great against Alabama, but lose. And then they're going to win some games, and everybody going to be on the bandwagon. And then they're going to choke some games against Texas Tech and maybe Baylor this year. It always happens. Texas going to beat Texas. They're going to end up with 4 losses. All right, I'm going to be nice. 3 losses by the end of the year. So I got LSU. And the reason I have LSU in front of Florida State, I think LSU going to win that matchup at the beginning of the year. I'll be rooting for Florida State. But I got LSU beating Florida State this year. The matchup with Alabama, I think the game is where's the game this year? I think the game is at Alabama. I'll double check or whatever. I'm doing all this top of my head. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on. But I do have LSU coming in at number 8, finishing second in the SEC West. All right. Number 7, our first controversial team on the list. Number 7, I had the Ohio State Buckeyes. And yes, I'm a Michigan fan. And yes, I know Ohio State Buckeye fans going to be hating and mad at me. And they're going to be in the comments talking shit. But I don't care. All right. Ohio State, I am not convinced of Ohio State this year. And when I say that, they're the number 7. I got them at number 7. It doesn't mean I think they're a bad team. Like, they are loaded offensively. And they are loaded based on recruiting rankings. They loaded defensively. But Ohio State players, they're loaded mostly at the same position. All the stars play the same position. Ohio State got like 27 5-star wide receivers. But they don't got a quarterback to get it to them. Okay? And Kyle McCord is not C.J. Stroud. If he was, he'd have been starting over C.J. Stroud. Kyle McCord is not C.J. Stroud, and I think he's going to win the quarterback battle. That's the way it looked like it's leaning so far. And if that is true, I don't think Ohio State can outscore the 2 best opponents. Well, the 2 main opponents. Well, probably 3. I think they'll beat Notre Dame. I'm going to just be honest, right? Because I'm not sold on Notre Dame. But if Ohio State lost that game, I would not be surprised. Okay? Notre Dame is a physical team. Like I just said earlier, Ohio State struggles with physical teams. That's why they're not going to beat Michigan. You can have 27 5-stars. It don't matter because they play soft. And that's not, I know it's going to come off as a hater because of my Michigan fandom, but Ohio State is soft. Ohio State has been soft for years. Like, ever since Urban left, Ohio State been soft. That's why Michigan beats them. And not beats them, creams them. It's because they are soft. They are soft up front. And until they fix that, and I ain't seen nothing to make them fix it, they're going to get killed. But anyway, all right, that's enough. Number 7, Ohio State. Coming in at number 6, who I think has a real shot at making the playoff, but I'm going to put them at number 6, the Clemson Tigers. If you look at Clemson's schedule, they get Florida State at home, and they don't have another difficult game on their schedule. I know people are going to be like, South Carolina, SEC. No. And Clemson has a ton load of talent on their team. Okay? And like Michigan, their quarterback is coming back, and he'll be a full-time starter. Not sharing or splitting time and things like that. Okay? And 5 stars, when they get up to like junior status, sophomore junior status, when they after they don't play for a while, that's normally when they show out. I think Clemson has a shot at going undefeated through the season. But the last couple of years, Clemson been slipping up here and there. And it might be against North Carolina. That's what I'm thinking. But I got them losing to North Carolina. But I got Clemson coming in at number 6. All right? In my preseason top 10 poll. All right? And up next, number 5. The biggest surprise on my list, I think, for everybody else. At number 5, I got Penn State. Okay? Penn State has everything they need to make it to the college football playoffs. Except we don't know what you're going to get out the quarterback position. And I know most people believe that the quarterback position is the most important position on the field. Yeah, it is if you play through the quarterback. But Penn State doesn't play through the quarterback. They have a dynamic duel at running back. Okay, they got a physical offensive line. They got a tough-ass, stingy physical defense. Okay, Penn State is loaded. Okay, they got a dominant secondary that can shut down most passing games. Well, they will be able to shut down most passing games. Okay, Penn State is loaded this year, y'all. Y'all watch. At the end of the year, if Penn State might sneak into the playoff. Okay, I think Penn State has the opportunity to sneak into the playoff. But I don't think they're going to get in because of SEC bias, honestly. But I think Penn State only going to lose one game this year. Okay, I got Penn State at 11-1. And I think if I was voting, Penn State would be in the playoff. But because of the SEC bias, I think they're going to finish right outside at number 5. Coming in at number 4, I got USC. Now, before y'all get on me, right? I know USC struggles against physical football teams, but I don't think they're going to play a physical football team this year. I got USC as the best offense in the country, led by Caleb Williams. USC is going to be so dynamic, they're going to outscore everybody until they get to the playoffs and play a physical team, right? I got USC running the table this year. They might slip up one game, but they'll be Pac-4 champions in the last year of the Pac-12. USC will be Pac-4 champions, and I believe they're going to the playoff. It's a big brand name, and no matter what anybody tell you, you know the bias to the big brands always happen. I got USC as the 4th team in my preseason top 10 poll. Coming in at number 3, I got my boy Ray's favorite team, the Alabama Crimson Tide, right? Roll Tide. Roll your ass right on the boat down in Alabama and that drama we just saw. But anyway, Alabama is loaded. Alabama is loaded every year. Alabama always got 372 5 stars with 272 backup 4 stars. Okay, they loaded. But the issue with Alabama is quarterback. Okay, and this is why I don't think Alabama can win it all this year. This is why I would pick Penn State in front of Alabama if I was voting. I'll put Penn State in front of USC if you want to know the truth. But Penn State won't win their conference, so that's why I ain't getting in. Enough about them. Alabama. I got Alabama running the table, getting to the SEC championship game and losing. Okay? I don't think Alabama is as good as most years, but their schedule is easy as shit this year. And the SEC is down, whether people will admit it or not. And I don't mean like down far as it'll be a lot of quality teams in the SEC. I'm not saying that they bad. It's just not no dominant SEC teams. Georgia, Alabama, that's it. Tennessee might be good, like everybody on the Joe Milton hype train, but as a Michigan fan, I've seen that story before, and I know how it turns out. Okay, when he looks in practice, he looks like Joe Montana with Michael Vick's arm. Okay, that's what he looks like. But when he get in the game, and I know he showed out at the end of last year, but I just don't, and I don't even want to say showed out. I know he played decently at the end of last year, but I just don't see it. Well, he did in the bowl game, but I just don't see it with Joe Milton for Tennessee. So I don't see anybody on Alabama's schedule challenging them with the type of talent that Alabama has on the roster. Oh my God, am I saying that out loud? Oh, I talk so much junk to Q. Q don't love this. But anyway, Alabama has so much talent on their team. They are the most talented team in the country. But they don't have a quarterback, at least not yet. Now, if they develop one by the end of the year and we're sitting here and Alabama has churned out a superstar, another superstar at quarterback, Alabama might win it all. But as of right now, what I see, What I see, they are the most talented team in the country, but they don't have a quarterback. And Alabama needs a quarterback to win. Okay? At least to challenge Georgia. At number 2, I have the greatest university to ever be created. The best team to ever be created. Let me start with that Phantom crowd. At number 2, I got the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is loaded this year. Okay, Michigan is loaded on offense. Michigan is loaded on defense. Like I went over earlier in this video, they really have 16 returning starters on their team, really, and a bunch of dudes who have had a bunch of playing time. Even though, like, the only question mark on their team is cornerback CB2. That's it. The rest of the team is kicking and punting, but the kid that came over from Louisville looked like he the true deal. So could they lose a close one because of kicking? Possibly, but that if the close one they lose, probably Penn State. But I don't see Michigan losing the game this year. I don't. And as y'all see from my rankings, I have Penn State ahead of Ohio State. So I think Penn State is going to beat Ohio State this year. I think Michigan is going to dog walk Ohio State this year. Ohio State is soft. And Ohio State, no matter what people may feel about C.J. Stroud, okay, he was a top 10 draft pick in the NFL draft. The kid got it done, okay? And as much superstar wide receivers that Ohio State has coming back, they had all that last year, and they had a better quarterback. And they don't have the quarterback this year, okay? Ohio State team is not as good as it was last year, right, with C.J. Stroud at the quarterback. Because Ohio State is such a throwing team, okay, the quarterback is way more important at Ohio State. And I just don't see it with Kyle McCord. Therefore, I see Michigan's toughest game at Penn State. That's going to be their toughest game. And if it was a whiteout, I'd probably pick Ohio State. I'd probably pick Penn State to beat Michigan this year, right? But it's not. It's a big noon kickoff. Thank you, Fox. It's going to be a big noon kickoff. And because it's a big noon kickoff, give me Michigan. Okay, I think Michigan's going to run the table. Okay, I think they're going to get to the playoff. Okay, I think they're going to see Alabama. They're going to see Alabama, and they're going to whoop that ass. But I got Michigan coming in at number 2. The top team, of course, is Georgia. I got Georgia as the second most talented team in the country. Okay, behind Alabama. But I got Georgia at number 1 because they won the last 2 championships. And if you want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And the only 2 teams I think that could beat Georgia this year is Michigan and Alabama. And that's why I had them ranked number 2 and 3. Right? I would probably have Michigan over, and yeah, I got fandom, but I would probably have Michigan over Georgia. Yeah, I said it. But I'm going to have Georgia at number 1. You want to beat the man, you got to beat the man. So Michigan, if you want to beat the man, you got to beat the man. Right? Georgia is loaded. Everybody knows that Georgia is loaded. I think they have 13 returning starters on their team. Off the top of my head, I believe it's 13. But even they backups is 5 stars, so it don't really matter. They just plug and play, right? The only position that I'm worried about on Georgia is quarterback. And that's not really a worry to me because they just won 2 straight national championships with a bum quarterback. I don't care what y'all say about Stetson Bennett. If I was 28, 29 years old and could play college football for 12 years, I'd be good too. But anyway, Stetson Bennett was not a good quarterback. Did he play good for Georgia? Yeah. But if I was throwing to 5-star wide receivers, 5-star tight ends, and I had 5-star linemen blocking for me, and I had the best defense ever assembled in college one year, and then I had probably another top 10, top 15 defense all time my second year, I win a national championship too. Okay, maybe not me because I'm not a quarterback, but my brother was a quarterback. He won a couple national championships too. But Georgia doesn't need a quarterback to win the national championship. And because of that, they might win a third. I don't think they are, but they might. So until somebody beats Georgia, right? I got Georgia at number 1. You want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Unless Georgia looks like stir-fried shit when they come out and play. But they schedule is so easy. Like, man, Georgia ain't losing the game. If Georgia loses the game, it's going to be against Alabama. Yeah. I don't think Joe Milton could beat. No, it's not happening. If Georgia loses the game, it's going to be against Alabama in the SEC title game. And even then, they're going to get into the playoff. So we'll see. Let's rock and roll. Let's get it. So that's who I have for my top 10, my preseason top 10 teams in college football this year. This video is growing long. I thought it was going to be like 10 minutes, but y'all know how I get sometimes. I be running my mouth. But that's all I got today. Struggle Streaming with BK. Hook a brother up with a like and a subscribe. Comment. If you want to talk junk in the comments. I'll talk junk back. Well, I ain't going to talk junk, but I like the debate. We can have honest, clean debates. None of that name calling, none of that crazy stuff. I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. I love doing this. I love interacting with y'all. And I got more content coming soon. Like I said, Monday is going to be my Michigan football and college day. I think boxing is going to be Friday. I'm going to try to continue to get out. My fragrance day is going to be on Wednesday, I believe. I'm going to try to get out more content for y'all because I see people supporting the channel. I want to get it out. But I want to let y'all know I run a small business. So, like, right now, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to get this video out. But if y'all continue to support the channel, I will continue to push content out. Okay? Hey, if y'all watch it, I'll produce it. And that's my thing. But I do got to run a business during the day. But but I really do appreciate all the love that I got on my Bud Crawford and Errol Spence videos. Like, I really do. Thanks to everybody. Struggle Streaming with BK. That's all I got, and I'm out. Peace.
Know about love. Tell me what you know about love. What you know about love. What you know about love.